I am a fan of free motion quilting, and on the Singer Heavy Duty 4453 sewing machine, I'm going to show you how to set up this machine to free motion quilt. Now these are blocks from a quilt from our Stitching Cosmos online course, and I love to put different quilting in every single one of these blocks. I think this quilt warrants just something special in each one. If you're interested in learning more about our Stitching Cosmos online course, check out the 10 free videos that we have linked to below this YouTube video. So first off, this foot is an optional foot. You need a low shank free motion quilting foot. You'll be working with a straight stitch, and it doesn't matter what your stitch length is, but I'm going to just leave it at 0. But we are going to lower the feed dogs. Make sure the width is at 0 also. That puts the needle in the center needle position. Let's go ahead to lower the feed dogs. You're going to slide off the accessory box, reach behind the machine, and take the lever that you feel to the inside. So I'm sliding that all the way over, and that click you heard is the teeth going below the throat plate. So they are not going to be in the way of me trying to move my fabric in different directions. Next, you need the screwdriver this time to actually loosen the screw on the left side of the foot. This is going to allow for the foot to be fully taken off, not just snapped off, so that our new foot can come around the post. And there's one extra thing. There's this little kind of arm at the top. That arm needs to sit above the screw that takes your needle in and out. So you're kind of aligning everything all at once for it to come into place. Once it comes around the post, take the time to twist the screw back into position, and then we'll use the screwdriver to kind of snug it up so it doesn't loosen up while we're stitching. So just a nice little, all right, that a nice little tighten, and that should hold it nicely. So there's a couple things to be aware of when we free motion quilt. Number one, you need to remember that the foot actually needs to be lowered in place. So even though this looks like it's got, it's close to the fabric, you have to reach behind the machine and lower it down. Next, this is going to take a little practice. So I'm going to show you just how to kind of work with getting your speed and your hand movement to coordinate so it looks like straight stitches. And then definitely take some time to look for some online courses for learning how to free motion quilt. Honestly, that's how I did it. There's a lot of books out there to give you pattern ideas, but it really is going to take a slight learning curve for working with getting your stitches just right. So the first thing I like to do when I'm teaching free motion quilting is show that how to bring your bobbin thread up. Hold on to your needle thread with your left hand, and with your right hand, cycle through one full stitch, needle down and needle up. And then if you need to move the fabric to the side, you will see that the bobbin thread is hooked onto the needle thread. And the reason we bring this thread up, so now that both the threads are on top of the fabric, is that we don't stitch this tail into the back of our quilt and then have to go fish it out later. So I'm going to just reposition my needle kind of near where we took that stitch. I'm going to take a couple of stitches kind of in place slowly. And as I start to move the fabric, you're going to notice that as we stitch, you will find you can move the fabric in any direction. Now, the goal is to have stitches that are all the same length. And this is what you're going to try to avoid. So first off, if you go too fast and don't move your fabric, you get little tiny stitches. Those don't look good. Next, if you sew too slow and move your fabric too quickly, you get long stitches. So you're looking for kind of that medium speed of the machine, and then your hands are going to move the fabric as it stitches. So you're going to kind of have to find that speed that works. Now, we are not done just yet. Oh, yes. So we need to actually look on the back side. And I could kind of hear that something just wasn't all the way perfect. I could tell things were a little loose. So this is something that you will usually need to adjust tension for when you free motion quilt. So what are we seeing? It looks fine on the top, but we are finding that that bobbin thread is really, really tight. It's like it's pulling my top thread down, and these long stitches are definitely not helping. So what we're going to do is we're reaching up to the top tension, and we're going to tighten this top thread. So normal is around 4, and since I kind of have quite a bit going on, I'm going to move it up to about 6. Let's go ahead and do a little stitching here. Okay. Much better, but not all the way there. So you usually find you will see if your tension's not right when you go around a curve, kind of like a little spider web option. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it up a little bit more until we are balancing this stitch to be the right connection through the batting. All right, so we really shouldn't be able to tell which side we quilted from, and now we're getting to it. So you should be able to like run your fingernail over it and not feel those little tick, tick, tick. You can almost hear those, can't you? All right, you don't want the little bumps like braille on the back of your fabric. And I can feel already that this is just as smooth as it is on the top. And I'm not seeing, because I have variegated thread on the top and I have pink bobbin thread. My clue too is that I'm not seeing any pink bobbin thread up through to the top. So what we've done is we've adjusted the length of these two threads, the needle thread and the bobbin thread, to really be performing right here in the middle of our fabric. So then it's just a matter of playing around and working with finding patterns that can be done on your quilts.